What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Dog Benfica podcast. My name is Alfredo, as always, bringing you episode number 432. With me tonight, I don't have the Oliveras, but I have something much stronger, the Carvalho. What's going on, Timo? It's been a while, brother.
Hey, what's going on, Alfredo? Thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. It's always a pleasure. I mean, I think you're probably one of the oldest listeners of the show, probably, if I could if I could recall.
Peggy.
Yeah, Peggy's out there, but I think that you were part of that initial group, that whole Twitter family that then erupted, the Benfica Twitter family that erupted. I think you were one of the founding fathers, if you want to say it.
Take that as an honor, I guess.
Yeah, man. So good to have you. As I mentioned, the Oliveras are not here. They're okay. But they're just not here today. So just me and you. I think we can handle this. We can handle this. On tonight's podcast, episode number 432, as I mentioned, we'll look back to the Passos Ferreira win at Estádio da Luz, first game of the new year. We'll look ahead to Moreirense, which comes up this Saturday at Estádio da Luz once again, a second consecutive game for Benfica at Estádio da Luz, and we will talk about Rui Costa. I almost said Rui Vieira. we will talk about Rui Costa's. He's going to publicly speak tomorrow. So Timo and I are going to discuss what we expect. And as I was mentioning to Timo before we came on live, it's probably going to be nothing. Whatever he says, nothing that like we expect. So,
or everything we would expect if it was Vieira.
Right, that's right.
Which is why you had the Freudian slip.
Yeah. So I want to exactly that. Those Freudian slips aren't for anything. Want to welcome all the Freddies: Pedro Aresta, Bruno Singer, Carlos Amaro, Dr. Spartan 99. Welcome. And thanks for joining us. We're just getting this started as you guys came in. So let's get into this Passos Ferreira game. Last game of the first round, or Primeira Volta. Benfica had already played Passos Ferreira once this season for the Portuguese Cup, in which Benfica won 4-1. Passos Ferreira had just changed coaches. César Peixoto, who we know as Benfiquistas, which every time I hear César Peixoto, you know what I think about, Timo? I think about the status that André Almeida has now. Back then, it was César Peixoto, right?
Perfect.
Because we thought this guy has to have some pictures on JJ, because we couldn't figure out why César Peixoto got that much playing time. But
both of them had the same thing in common. Polyvalent. You could put him anywhere. Peixoto would play all over the pitch as well.
He would play. Yeah, you're right.
Same exact thing.
Yeah. Peixoto had just taken over Passos Ferreira. They were coming off 2 straight wins. Benfica with some players that were out as of from COVID, 6 COVID cases for Benfica. I'll give you the lineup. Elton Late was in goal. Vlaco Dimos obviously out because of COVID. Elton Late made his debut for the league. Gilberto, Otamendi, Murato, and Grimaldo. Weigl, João Mário, Rafa, and Everton. Ramos behind Seferovic or next to Seferovic. Depends on how you want to look at it. Timo, let me ask you this. Otamendi and Murato, this was the second time they played as a tandem. Looking at Murato's performances, and this kid's kind of been a rookie. This year he's been flying under the radar, but he's put in some solid performances. Definitely is a player for the future. At this point, is this a player that we need to give time ahead of perhaps Vertonghen, because he is the future? Why sacrifice his evolution if he keeps putting on good performances? What do you think?
100%. I think it's time to, let me take a step back. Benfica fans, many of us are wanting Seychelles products or the younger guys to get in more. I agree with that in a sense, not in totality like some others would. But Morato is one of those cases where I think, from what we've seen, I think it's his. He should be the one to lose it right now. It's not taking anything from Vertonghen. I love the guy. I just think Morato offers a little bit more in physicality, more speed. They both, I think, pass the ball really well. Um, Only thing Vertonghen has over Morato at this point, I think, is probably the experience
Yeah.
and maybe leadership. But how much leadership does he have there?
Yeah, and we often hear about guys that, especially in the B team, the younger kids that don't want to sign a renewal, and all of a sudden they get benched. And the approach by the coach is always like, well, if he doesn't want to commit their future to Benfica, why should I be giving them playing time, right? Because if he's not going to be here, I'd rather give it to other guys. And this is somewhat of the dynamic, right? So if Muratu is the future, and more or less we've been seeing him deputizing for Vertonghen, deputizing for Otamendi, and he's always done well. And since he's the future, why should we stunt his growth? That's it might be a controversial decision, but certainly something based on his performances that he would warrant.
Again, I agree with that. We've done that all too many times. I think at Benfica, we had Conti, who had a few really good games, and then all of a sudden he got pushed aside. Fel, who had half a season, was it, that he was excellent. I know he got injured towards the end, and then that kind of derailed him. But we never went back to him other than a few minutes here and there. Morato hasn't really shown a bad performance so far. I mean, he's had a couple that were just like we would say with under Almeida, they were average. They were good, but nothing great. But a couple of them now have been really, really good, and I'm just not sure what else he's going to have to do in order to get that spot. I mean, we saw Andre Almeida playing in the 3-man back for so long, when this guy has clearly shown that he's a center back. He can actually play. So.
He could play, man. You know what I really enjoy about Muratu is he has this. He's an imposing figure, right? He's a tall guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a house, but his demeanor is very, very calm. And I don't know if it's because he's a young player, so he's very subdued to the veterans on the team. He doesn't really have a voice per se on the team, so he always seems very calm. And I think that I kind of like that. I like to look at a center back and not see a look of either fear or hesitation or nervousness in their eyes. And when you look at Muratu, you kind of have that feeling, and that kind of leaves me comfortable in terms of Muratu.
Yes, he definitely has that confidence feel to him. Never looks nervous, and you can tell even when he's on the pitch and he's coming forward. So a lot of times, he has to come up and make a tackle, or just kind of make a block on a run, on a counter, and he comes up without fear. Sometimes somebody a little more hesitant. You had that with Ferro for a little while, where he would just kind of shy back and let the play come to him instead of him stepping forward. I think when you have a guy who's not afraid to do that, I think it's really, really good. I think we need to, if we're going to do a 2-man back, it's got to be him and Otamendi for now until
Verissimo comes. And look, I appreciate everything that Otamendi has done for Benfica, obviously, but you got to think that maybe he has another year in him at this level, if that, right? So I don't know. I just he has brought so much to this Benfica team, to leadership, and I wish that he probably had been on this team a couple years back, so he could be a leader in the locker room. Not that he isn't right now, but perhaps those other leaders.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. He's the Ruben Dias sale hurt because you were losing a young leader who was already ready to be the leader. Obviously, he would never have been the leader here because of the other two that you didn't mention, but you kind of did. I think Otamendi came in here being that guy who everybody already knew and respected, had the age, had the qualifications. I know I was bummed seeing him coming, on the flip side of Ruben Diaz. But let me tell you, after that first stop, where I think I gave him a little bit of, it wasn't the first, maybe the second one where he got a yellow or a red, kind of gave him a little bit of trash talk. But since then,
And so many others did that.
no, I know, but I mean, I'm speaking for myself. But the man has come back, and I mean, he's won me over. Nobody should ever wear the brasadera over him right now,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I'm with you, man. And the good thing that he did is like he committed those faux pas right in the
Of
beginning,
course, yep,
and everybody got on him.
yep,
Oh, this guy's a
persecuted,
fraud. He's here to
yep,
sabotage, and he was a big man about it. He came out.
hmm yep,
I apologize. I'm going to work harder, and I'm going to be the best that I can be to defend the colors of this team. And hey, great attitude, and that's a manly attitude to have
hmm
of a professional and a guy that's there to defend the colors and to defend the team. So I had no problem with that. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I think he should be a captain every time. Whether Almeida and PT are on the field, that's the guy that deserves uh, the braçadeira. But anyway, let's get into this game. Um, Good start. I thought that Benfica played okay in the first half. It's
hmm
just again um, missing a lot of wasted opportunities. First 15 minutes, the team pressed
easy,
high. They tried to get the ball back as quick as possible. And then after the 15, 20 a minute, there was a little bit of a drop. The team lowered a little bit of lines. Pasfreda got a little bit into the game. But Benfica, I thought that there was some improvement there. I'm not going to say quality and that I'm swept off of my feet. Obviously, it's too early for that to be happening under Verissimo if he is to bring anything. But certainly, um, a decent first half, by Benfica. That to me, the only thing that you're short is going into the locker room 1-0. What'd you think of the first half, Timo?
I thought. uh, I'll say the first 20 minutes of the game, I thought, oh goodness, we're gonna easily trash this team. Making chances, playing really well on the left hand side. I thought the first 20 minutes of the game was the best 20 minutes I've ever seen of Everton, either ever in a Benfica uniform or, of late. I think when he first came on, he had a little bit of those flashes, but I thought this Pasta Ferreira game was just like lights out for the guy. Um, you know, some of the misses that we had were criminal. No, like you
Yeah,
have to at least put that on goal. I mean, how do you miss wide open?
yeah,
Headers missing wide, hitting it right at the keeper. I mean, there's certain things that I was kind of like, oh my goodness, like what is going on here? But I thought the team actually did play really well, and I think one of the indicators of Benfica playing well is the goalkeeper not really doing a damn thing in the game.
you're
I
right.
I, I don't think Helton ever touched the game the first 45.
The first 45. Now he was a
May,
spectator.
maybe once, maybe the ball came towards him once, but
Yeah.
Benfica just totally dominated and controlled the game.
Yeah, no, and look, I think that the 1-0 right at the closing of the first half, obviously following the ejection by the Pasfreira guy for dangerous play. I thought that helped the team because after you go through a half like that and you don't score, there may be a little bit of anxiety that may set in a second half. And I thought that the goal came at the right time. Um,
Much needed.
yeah, let's Timo, let's talk about it because you and I have done some refereeing, obviously, not at a very high level. But let's talk about this play in which the Pasfreda player got ejected, right?
You
So,
want to start with the first one? His
well,
first foul. His first foul on Everton that wasn't called.
his first foul is a foul. It's
The
clear as
first
day.
foul's a yellow. I mean, it's been a yellow in every other game except for ours.
Yeah,
The ball was by him and he just stomped on his foot.
yeah. Well, the thing with the foot, and you know this.
hmm
I mean, when you step on somebody's foot in the run of play or in a 50-50, it's very tough. Yeah, you could say, yeah, it's a yellow card foul, right? But it's not so much as a violent behavior as it is studs up above the ankle, studs
Exactly.
up on your Achilles, studs up on your calf. that's completely different.
Yep.
Once you leave that area of the ankle down, now you got to, as a referee, you got a total different
Correct.
interpretation.
Like, why the heck is this foot this high?
Yeah, and even people are complaining about the Otamendi
Mm-hmm.
play, right, where
Yep.
we stepped on a guy,
You
but
got a yellow.
you got a yellow. That's
Yep.
all you could get for
Exactly.
a play like this. Now I'm watching this play, right, and I'm thinking, well, it's really unfortunate, right, because it's one of those things that you go for a 50-50 ball and you go with everything with
Mm-hmm.
no intent to pass the ball, to even
Yep.
clear the ball. You just go on a smash, right? And you could tell by his leg swinging motion and follow through of the violence, if you
Yep.
could say that, a
Yep.
violence of the kick,
Yep.
right? And he's unfortunate because he misses, and I forget who the player was that he was disputing the ball with, but he misses that player, and then Grimaldo is coming across, and the follow through hits Grimaldo on the shoulder.
Yep.
So in a way, he was a bit unfortunate, but what you look at here is, as a referee, excessive force. That's what you look at.
So you look at excessive force, and then you also look at recklessness. You have to be in
Yeah.
control of your body at all times. And I get it. It's he swung with everything he had to try and get rid of that ball. He really did, and you can tell that there was no malice or intent for him to do that. But there
No.
doesn't need to be intent. Anytime you put another player in a you know dangerous position, or where you can injure the player, typically that's going to be a red card in almost any league you play in. Um, I had a back and forth with quite a few people. I think one of them might have been Carlos, and you know,
Carlos Amaro,
yeah, I want to say we had a little bit going back and forth on it.
a
Where
resident scientist.
so I think it wasn't a clear red card.
No, it wasn't.
Like, you need to, like, the ref really needs to look at it. So if the ref came out right away and gave him the red, I'd be like, oh man, that's harsh. But now if VAR is the one intervening and saying, hey, look, you might want to take a peek at this. This guy really had no regard for anyone else. Where their positioning was. I think you should take another look. So I think at that point you say, all right, the red card is okay. I'm not saying it's a guarantee or a
Yeah.
must. It needs to be a red. I don't think so.
It's
But
not
then
as
again,
clear cut.
there's a lot of plays like that, and even some of these stomps that people say, oh, that should be a red. No, I mean, again, you got to take into context, what was that player doing? Otamendi is swinging for the ball, and where else is he going to put his foot? He's got to come down, right?
Right.
You have to, because that's gravity. Now, with the other guy, he's swinging full force, and he's literally coming like this with his foot. That's dangerous. You're putting somebody else in danger with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think the red is okay.
He was unfortunate that Grimaldo just happened to be coming across.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he
was
doesn't
unlucky.
even pick up I don't even know if he picks up a yellow on that.
No. If there's nobody there, there's no need for a yellow. I
Right,
mean,
because when he kicks and he swings his leg, he completely misses the ball,
Yep.
Or the player that he was disputing the ball with. But I thought that, well, this could go either way. I mean, we've seen Talisca get studs in the face against Braga, and the guy didn't even get a red. I mean, a much worse
Julio
play.
Cesar with the studs on the inner thigh.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
So some of those plays, it's kind of like the Julio Cesar when I get the guy's coming in, going for the ball. I mean, that's dangerous going into the guy, but he's trying to win the ball, trying to chip it over him, whatever. You have nowhere else to go. Some of those plays are ticky-tacky, and it all depends on how the ref looks at it. And that's why I think I said to Carlos, it's like a lot of this is up to the interpretation of the ref. I don't think I said that to him. I think I just said it in general.
Yeah, and it really is, man. And as a referee, and I don't want to bore people too much about this. As a referee, it's all about interpretation. It's all about the angle. Obviously, with the VAR and having different looks at it, it opens up your perspective a lot more. But in a run of play, I thought that was just unfortunate, and he could have gotten away with a yellow, and I think I would have been okay.
Yeah, I think at first glance I would agree with that, but once you start seeing a couple more, I mean, I think the guy also needs, as he's coming through the ball, you should be a little bit aware of what's coming around you. Not saying he's swinging this way and Grimaldo's coming out from his blind side. Yeah, obviously he's not going to see Grimaldo there, but I get it, and I totally agree
Yeah.
with you on that one.
Yeah, so let him cry, Timo. Let him cry. So second
Can't win them
half
all.
second half started, and second half we have a little bit of a scare, right? Because Helton, who had been a spectator for most of the first half, was called into action. And look, and I'm not saying that Helton is a world class keeper, but any any decent keeper, when you spend most of the game as a spectator, and Timo, you know this because you actually play a keeper.
Yep.
When you call into action, you have to be ready. There's no
Yeah.
such thing as, oh, I'm cold, I don't have the reflexes. You got to be ready. And I thought that was an excellent save on his part.
Definitely a good save, and I totally agree with you when it comes to being a spectator for a little while. It happened to me last night. I was a spectator for about 15 minutes, and all of a sudden, I got a 2-on-1 coming at me. So I was like, ugh, and I missed it. But I mean, we still won the game. But that's not. We're not
Yeah,
discussing me.
yeah,
But it's definitely hard. He made a good save. That's the important part. I know he gets crucified a lot too, especially by me. But he did his part, and we got the W.
yeah. Again with the I remember Ramos missing a really good opportunity after he had a good play and a cut inside, and then he just tried to kill the ball.
Then you have
Uh,
when he tried to chip too.
yeah, he had one that he tried to chip also.
Hoffa
And
had a
then
chip.
and then and then Darwin came in. Darwin came in for Ramos, and if Ramos was having a bad night, you know, Darwin, that one that he misses at the end of the game, man. How do you? That's like blooper reel type stuff.
Yeah, man, I had us missing maybe 6 solid chances that probably should have been buried. And I know some people said we could have maybe had 8 goals. I initially said 4. I think 4 of them were like 100% guaranteed to be goals. Maybe possibly 6. Who knows? But some of them were definitely criminal. I know around the 40th minute or so, he had one that he hit the crossbar. That
Yeah,
was Hamush. But I mean, the keeper's already coming down. You got the whole back post open. You
yeah,
don't need power there. Nice little finesse shot, and it's
yeah,
guaranteed goal. There's nobody around you, and he just hammered it. There's no need.
yeah. And the thing about Ramos is that the one thing that we praise about Ramos all the time is the fact that he's a very good finisher.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um, and
for
and
Portugal
this
and even for the B team.
Oh yeah, and this
Yeah.
would have been a perfect opportunity, and I think it falls right in his wheelhouse in terms of the execution that he could do from
Yep.
from that close, right?
Yep.
So I think that there's a little bit of anxiety to the kid. He's getting opportunities now with Verissimo because Verissimo knows his style of play
He
better
appreciates the youth as well.
than JJ, right?
Yeah.
So now that he's getting these opportunities, he feels that he doesn't know when his next opportunity is gonna come, right? Because
Hmm.
Yaramchuk came out of COVID, Seferovic is playing, Darwin came out of the cut in his foot, so he's rushing things to make an impact and to give his contribution, and he doesn't really need to do that
Yeah.
because I think that there's a lot of minutes that he could get in terms of a utility player, in terms of a player that could come with his speed in the second half and change some things around. But he's just rushing things.
Totally. I think at this point he's looking, hey, I might be number 4 in a depth chart. I'm getting my shot now. Let me try and take as many as I can. Maybe if I bag a couple of goals, I'll get, some more minutes in the next game. I think that's kind of what he's trying to look at this point. But I mean, I don't think he really has a worry about getting minutes or not because we're not seeing Seferovic bag these goals. Darwin is hit or miss. And to this point, I think Yarmchuk is not what I thought he was going to be.
Yeah,
I thought he'd be more of our, Mitroglou type of guy and be there for all those goals. But I think at this point, I think Gonzalo Ramos just needs to chill and let it
yeah,
go to him. There was a couple of plays that I really thought he needed to do better in the first half where I think it was around the 31st minute or so. He was on the left-hand side and he cut back in and he made a pass. I don't know if it was into João Mario's path or if it was into somebody else's. Perfect. He had a huge gap. you put it behind them. Like you just
Yeah.
smashed it behind him instead of nice little layoff. I mean, it would have been an easy point blank goal, but he overdid it. He had zero reason to
Yeah.
rush, but he did.
Yeah. No, I think that he'll be given more time.
I think so too.
I think he'll be given more time. And the thing with Yaremchuk is that I haven't given up hope of Yaremchuk because I thought that Yaremchuk wasn't being deployed in the right manner.
Okay.
And JJ was always so stubborn with it's this is my system and these guys have to fit within my system. And from what we've heard from Verissimo so far, it seems that he's always saying, well, we got to look at the players and see how the players are, or if we need to
Exactly.
adapt the system to the players, right?
Yep.
And look, 2 games in, and you're already starting to see, yeah, 2 games in, you're already starting to see everything improving. And if it was
Hmm.
something that Chris and I always talked about was like, well, everything is not producing like we know he can, right? But how much of that has to do with the fact that he has
I think it was the system.
more defensive responsibilities, that he has to
Definitely.
track back, that he has to position
Hmm.
himself on the field differently? We don't know that.
Exactly.
So it's like I'm hoping that with Vrisim coming in, he could at least exploit these players' best qualities and the best positions that they fit in to take the most out of them. So that's why I'm kind of still holding up hope for Yaramchuk, and I don't think Yaramchuk is done yet.
I mean, I haven't given up hope. I figured just at this point, he would have already had a little bit more accomplished. Um, I totally agree that I think we've been playing a lot of these guys in the wrong role. With Verdismo so far, you know, Everton for sure. I mean, this was his best game, in a long time or ever for Benfica. And I think a lot of that had to do with not having to be there to help or protect Grimaldo, not constantly coming back, not trying to do way too much more than he needed to do. His job right there, hey, be a creative facilitator, do what you got to do. And that's what he did. And he was really good at what he was doing in that game.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree with you. And even if you're speaking about Grimaldo, right?
Oh,
Um,
he looks more comfortable too for some reason. I don't know what it is.
yeah, and it was something that I think that Lage deployed him in the same manner, right? So instead of having Everton come back in and have Grimaldo just open up the whole game, what
It's
he
where he has
does,
Weigl slides in like Phasia used to, I think.
or he keeps Everton out wide, and Grimaldo is free to cut inside to combine, and
Gotcha.
he's had a lot of success with that in the past. And I think that it's another guy that we're kind of seeing. I know it's only been 2 games, but you're kind of seeing the best out of them come out in these games. And look, it's against Paço Ferreira. They were down to 10 men. They didn't really attack a lot. All things that you have to take into consideration, but you can't take away the fact that there's guys that have kind of upped their game, if you will, in these past couple games, and Grimaldo and Everton being 2 of them.
Hey, they might just be happy with the coaching change.
They might just got tired of getting yelled at.
They might just be in a happier place right now, and now like, hey, you know what? This is fun.
Yeah,
Never know.
I found the happiness playing football again. You
It's
know.
possible.
But yeah, so Darwin came in for Ramos. Then in the 73rd minute, Bernardo came in for Everton. Lazaro came in for Gilberto. Um, what do you think? There's a lot of talk about Bernardo, about him having to play. He needs to play. He's a player that needs to play. There was a stat on goal points that in the 19 minutes that he played, or whatever minutes he played, he had like a 90 something percentage pass completion. He had one pass for a dangerous situation.
Hmm.
So he had good stats. He's also a player that plays simple, doesn't give up the ball a lot, and that may just be something that he comes out of the bench with instructions to do. But what do you think about Bernardo getting more playing time? And does that mean that somebody sits the bench, or does that mean that Verissimo little by little changes that midfield duo to a midfield trio?
Well, it could go either way, I think. But I think at some point, like, you're gonna have to give some of these guys rest, especially João Mario. He looked sluggish to me in that first half, like the first like 20 minutes or so. I know he did his thing like he always does. Controls the ball, controls the flow of the game. He always does that, even when he looks tired. But he didn't look like he was doing anything extra until the end of the first half when he really started. You really started to see his motor churning. So maybe he was, rusty or whatever. But I think over time we might see him getting a little less minutes. We might see Paul Bernard coming in for a few more minutes here and there, or I think the trio is possible. But going back to Bernardo, I think he's a really good player. He's
Yeah.
got good size.
Yeah.
He's not João Felix stature. He looks like he's got a decent body to
He's
him.
not a Dantas.
Yeah, he's definitely not a Dantas. I mean, shit. I mean, Dantas is smaller than me, and I'm tiny. Well, height wise. But I think he's, like you said, simple. He's that guy. I mean, you might want to compare him to say João Moutinho. Just takes that ball, pings it here and there, knows how to make the right play, knows how to make the right, drop back, win a couple of balls, made a couple of smart fouls, which you don't see from a lot of players. We were almost giving up a counter. He took a yellow. Hey, right play. He said, "Hey, I got to do what I got to do," and he did it. There's promise for him. I think. I just hope he gets put into way more positions to be able to do what he needs to do.
No, I agree with you, and let's not forget that João Mario has also been deployed as an interior midfield on the right, so not so much centrally. But I think at Sporting at times he played on the side to a role that we've seen probably Pizzi play at some point during Vitoria's reign and also Lage. So it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if he deploys him like that. But I think that Bernardo, and understanding how familiar Verissimo is with Bernardo, there's more of a chance or more of a willingness, if you will, to play Bernardo, Paul Bernardo in the middle of the park. So
I'm all for it.
I'm in it. I'm
all for it.
2-0 in the 75th minute, the goal by Grimaldo, and Cesar brings up a great point here. Grimaldo apologized after the first Porto game. He was the guy that was on a post game flash interview. And look, I think that now that Grimaldo has spent this time with the club, he certainly feels the club. He knows what the club's about. He knows what the moral fabric of the club is. And certainly after that Porto game was embarrassing, was it personal for him? Did he say, we can't do this? Or is he having a little bit of a rebirth under the new coach? A rebirth. I don't want to say a rebirth. I think rebirth is a little bit too much, but maybe a refresh, if you will. So, I don't know.
It could be either or again, but I think a lot of these players, they have social media presence, and there's a lot of people who are like really take a lot to heart. I'm not saying that he does. I don't know the guy, but who knows? It's possible that this guy is, reading all of us Benfica trash him day in, day out, saying this guy can't defend or whatever. And maybe he does feel it. But no, I think you're gonna see, I'm hoping to see less Pizzi, less Almeida.
Yeah, I'm in it.
But
I'm all
even
in.
them, I'm hoping for the day where Benfica just says, "Hey, you know what, guys? Here you go. Here's your $6 million left. We owe you. Buzz off or whatever. Just let them go." But I think a lot of these guys, Hoffa included, Grimaldo included, a lot of these like more little prima donna little guys, not speaking stature wise, I'm just saying like prima donnas. I think a lot of them are going to mature more, and they're going to see, hey, look, you know what? This is our job, and it means a lot to millions of people.
Yeah.
On how things go, game in and game out. Not even on game day, even just on our social media.
Yeah.
They want us. They want to see us represent the club. They want to see us, promote the club, push the club, love the club. Look at Vigo, his posting the, picture of his grandmother's grandmother with the, Benfica flag. I'm like, dude, how does that make you feel when you see it? I'm like, This must be in Germany. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what you want out of these players. So maybe he's seeing that, Grimaldo. Maybe he's seeing that from a lot of these other guys who have just kind of gotten here, like 3 years,
Yeah.
much, more recent than him. Maybe he's seeing that these guys, hey, look, these guys get it. Why don't I?
Yeah.
It could be it.
Yeah. No, you're
Or he
absolutely
just
right.
wants to earn his next contract. Because
Could
that's
be too.
possible too.
Because I think he's coming up on
He is.
2023, right?
Yep.
2023 is his contract is
Yep.
up. Yeah, but he second goal of the game, and I think that kind of put things out of the way for Paços de Ferreira. An assist by Seferovic, and what a goal by Grimaldo. I don't think that he knows how to score shitty goals. Every single goal, obviously, they're always going to be shots from outside the box, but what a goal. Benfica's 6,000th goal.
Incredible.
In the league. And what a goal it was. So certainly, good for him, man, and good for Benfica that we were able to score. But Timo, I don't know, as you're watching the game, this is something that upsets me to no end, right? Why doesn't the team shoot the ball more? I mean, there's no competition or award for how many touches you get inside the opponent's box.
No.
Just shoot the fucking ball, man.
And you hear that all the time, or you read it all the time on Twitter. These guys want to dribble the ball all the way into the 6 before they even think of taking a shot. Take the shot from outside. Look how many times that we've been beaten or come close to being scored on by shots outside the box. You got to make the keeper make a save.
Yeah.
That Grimaldo goal, he had no business shooting it, but the bend he put on that ball was going straight at the keeper, and all of a sudden just cut completely to the right. Take a hit. You don't know what's going to happen. But no, you don't see anybody shooting other than Taarabt, but he's got no power in his leg. But you have no one who's willing to just take a hit from like 18 yards out. Just hit it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was it was quite something, and we've seen him score those goals. I'm going to bring up here the let me see. I'm going to bring up here. I don't have Dave with me, so I'm
what do you need? I can do it.
No, I was going to share my screen.
Gotcha.
With the stats from goal point window, Chrome tab. Here it is. 22 shots for Benfica, 6 of them on goal, 56 actions in the opponent's box, 9 corners, 87% and pass accuracy, 76% of vertical pass accuracy, 24 defensive actions in the opponent's midfield, 17 fouls committed, 66% possession. So dominating performance by Benfica.
Definitely.
If you're gonna say something.
I mean, first and second half weren't much different either. Possession wise, or even everything else wise, it was a little bit better in second half, but not a lot. So second half possession was 69% versus first being 65. So it's not like,
yeah.
I mean, the extra man definitely helped with space and everything else, but I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Wasn't the end all be all.
It was a little bit of a scare with that health and save, but and certainly something that upsets me with this team is like every time another team comes down on a counter or has a set piece, I still don't have that secure or confidence that the defense is going to handle it. So when Paços started attacking, I said, "Oh no, here we go again." It was one of those feelings, and we felt them too long.
I thought we were gonna get killed on a counter at some point. I'm like, oh, we're definitely gonna give up one goal. And I mean, if you follow me on Twitter, which I know you do, and a lot of these other guys do, Benfica matches, I almost always bet a 3-1 scoreline.
Yeah,
almost every single time, depending on who we're playing, 3-1 scoreline. Doesn't matter if it's league play, doesn't matter if it's Taça, it doesn't matter. It's 3-1 because we're always going to give up a goal.
Yeah,
and it's inevitable.
Yeah, and in talking about those results as we wrap up, talking about the game, I had 4-0, Chris had 3-0, and Dave had 3-1.
Yep.
But then again, we didn't account for the Darwin factor to
No.
play to play into it. But certainly,
My man could have had a hat trick easily.
yeah,
I think Gonzalo Holmes could have had a hat trick easily too.
yeah, yeah,
He should have scored the one that he should have scored our first goal instead of it being a rebound to João Mario. He should have scored the one off the crossbar, and I guarantee you had another one in there somewhere.
yeah. Yeah, in Pedro Orestes says here that stats show something completely different from the truth. At least that's the way I saw the game. Certainly, the stats are something that if you look at the stats, right, and you look at the score line, you think of maybe Benfica should have won by a lot more because of the amount of shots that they had, even though there was only 6 on goal. Um, but certainly, it's not the prettiest of football. I got to say that, but there's little things that you're already seeing as improvements. Even if it's just certain players' behaviors that they're happier in playing their football. In case in point, like we mentioned, Everton and Grimaldo. But certainly not the prettiest games, and at times frustrating because of all the misses. Because you just want the team to put the game away, and you want to relax the second half. You just want to relax. You want to sit there, have your drink, watch it, not curse at the TV, not curse at the players.
Looking at my
And
damn Fitbit to see what
yeah,
my heart rate's at, feeling my chest about to pop out of my chest, being like,
yeah,
"Oh, what the hell? Can just score a goal so this can go away."
yeah. You just
No.
you just want to relax. You want to have a good rest of the afternoon,
Mm-hmm.
watching a game. The game's away. The team is playing well. The team's certainly it wasn't that. And a frustration in terms of the way they were missing opportunities was up there. But I don't think it was that bad of a game.
So I hear what Pedro is saying, but I think what I take out of this game was we did have a lot of chances, which means we created a lot of chances. A
Yeah,
lot of them really good. I know we had a lot of misses, but we created a lot of that, which in a lot of our games this year, we didn't create much. I
yeah,
felt this game we actually saw some creativity, and not everything was run down the sideline, cross the ball over. Hopefully somebody gets on it. Try and cut back in. Try and put it across for somebody. No, we actually had quite a few
yeah,
chances, and I think that to me was the positive I took out of the match was that hey,
yeah,
we actually created quite a bit there.
yeah. In
This law.
Murphy's law, right? If you're gonna create, you will eventually
Yep.
score them, right? You
Yep.
can't. It can't always be
Yep.
create 20 chances or whatever, and you put one away.
Yep.
Law of averages. And I get it.
Yep.
As the rest is saying, in the final third, and it's that tiki taka and
Yep.
in the box. Nobody shoots the ball,
Nope.
and sometimes it's too predictable. And when we're playing against the team that has low lines or a lower block, it becomes more important that you play with pace, you play with
Mm-hmm.
accuracy, that there's a lot of movement in the final third. And I think that's a bit of what we're missing at this point. So I get it. And it's frustrating to see that much possession with no end goal,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I get what the rest is saying. I certainly do. Um yeah, but 3 points in a weekend where Sporting lost. Who would have thought that Sporting would have lost? So
Santa Clara.
there you go. So we were able to get to claw back 3 points from the 7 deficit that we had to Sporting, which was tied with Porto. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
they're no longer. But Timo, does this now all of a sudden give a newfound hope? Because I'm thinking that 7 points to 2 opponents that have been very consistent this first round is going to be a very tall order. But now all of a sudden, Sporting drops points. Porto was very close to dropping points, right? And we all know how that went in terms of
That game should have
shitty
been
calls.
4-3, maybe 3-3. The offside goal to me was a little iffy. Those offsides. I hate the whole giving me a measurement of 14 centimeters, because 14 centimeters can be my fingernail, my toenail, or whatever. Those, they're too close. I think the offside rule needs to change a little bit. I think it needs to be a clear, distinct advantage. But how do you determine what a clear, distinct advantage is over
Yeah.
what an actual, by the measurement? So I don't know about their offside, but I mean, come on, the goal that they disallowed for the foul, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Oh, am I allowed to swear? Yeah, of
Yeah,
course
you
I
could
am.
say
Damn right.
fuck. Yeah. Aresh is saying, do you think that we win the game if Pastors doesn't see the red card? Yes,
I think
I
we
think
still.
so.
I think we still win.
Because the volume of chances that we created and the misses that we had in the first half, up until they probably would have continued the same way. Perhaps not as frequent, but I think that they would have continued the same way.
I think they would have had a few more chances if it was
Yes.
11v11.
And it wouldn't be as hard for us, right? Because
Yeah.
now they're all retracted, the lower blocks. So it's a lot harder for us to penetrate because they were set up that way. And God knows we've had those difficulties all season playing against teams that shack up. But yeah, I do think that that they would have won the game just because of the number of opportunities that that we had. So you still remaining hopeful?
There's still a whole half a season to play. I mean, you just never know. I mean, we've done it before. I'm not saying we're going to do it again, but see what happens. Nobody thought it was possible when Bruno Lage came in.
Yeah,
and
it's been done.
It happened. We've been there. We've done it. So
yeah, it's been done, albeit not 7 points to 2 opponents.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it's like Vrisim says, game by game, we got to do our job, and hopefully we'll shorten the distance between us and the teams that are over us. Let's not forget that all 3 teams are involved in European competition. That means that once Europe restarts, we're gonna have games midweek, and Porto may even go further because they're in the Europa League.
I think they have a good chance. I know this is not a Porto podcast, but I think in Europa they have a team that just as well. It's that dog in them.
Yeah.
So I think they have a chance to go pretty far if they keep Luis Diaz, of course, because if he's gone, they have no chance.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. And Timmy, let me ask you this: with the appointment of Vrisim until the end of the season, did you interpret that as Benfica throwing in the towel?
I can see how you would say that. I don't think so. I think Benfica at this point brought in somebody who already knew the team. Verissimo, if everything we've heard is accurate, where the B team should follow along the same style of training regimen as the main squad, so that players could be interchangeable if needed from the B to the A, or if they're all integrated at some point. I think this kind of made sense to just let him take the reins. He's already been there before. He's been put in the position before. So I don't think it was throwing in the towel. At least I want to feel that, I guess.
Yep.
But I just don't think it would have been right to bring somebody in at this point that has no clue.
Well, maybe the guy that you wanted is not available until the end of the season. That's the other thing, too. Right? So why bring a guy that's not going to be your first choice, right? Or your second choice, just because he's available?
Yeah. Sorry to say this, but I kind of have a feeling we might see Mourinho at Benfica.
No,
I know, but I just have an inkling. It's not that I want him. I don't.
God damn it! I hope not, man.
I don't know.
I hope not. I hope to God not, man.
I just kind of have that feeling now with the way things are going at Roma. Come on, somebody like Rui Costa is gonna. I don't know. I just have a feeling. I mean, I've been wrong about a lot of feelings, but I don't know, man. I kind of.
I hope not,
just
man.
Telling me, hey, he's coming.
But the stars are aligning, right?
That's what I'm saying.
The stars are aligning. I was reading today in a bullet that he's meeting with the directive after everything that's going on. But man, I hope not. Yep. And Nelson Carvalho, no, fuck no. Get out of here.
Even Dave saying he'd be crying for JJ back.
Yeah. Yeah. No, man.
It's just too many things seem to be like clicking in that direction. Because
Yes.
where else is he gonna go?
Yeah.
I don't
And
think anybody in the EPL wants him anymore.
I think that every time Mourinho leaves a job, he loses a bit of his credibility, because every time that he's lost a job is because of his inability to coach, right? Not so much that he's had clashes with the directive, or he's had
Yeah,
clashes with players, or blah blah blah, or he's lost the locker room. It's just he's just not getting the results, man.
he's not. I mean,
Yeah.
brilliant minds.
Yeah,
At some point,
in their own right, right?
at some point, I mean, the guy won with shit at one point.
Yeah,
So the guy knows what he's doing, but I think the game, there's a lot more speed, a lot more technicality in the game as opposed to the old school way of playing. And
yeah,
I think he's still in that like get these, these old guys, the guys who know certain ways of playing. But I don't know. I just kind of have that feeling, and I don't know if you're on mute, my man. I can't hear you. Not again. I cannot. Can anybody in the chat hear him? Hey, just unplug the microphone and the headphones and go off the computer. Try that. Hope it's not me. Nope. Dave is saying, can't hear you, Alfredo.
Issue.
There you
Can
are.
you hear me?
Now we can.
Now you can. All right. It's always halfway through the show that something like this happens. I don't know why. But what I was listening to a podcast, and I heard something that I thought it was kind of funny, and at the same time true, right? There's a lot of the new Portuguese generation of coaches used both Mourinho and JJ as a frame of reference, and they used a lot of their work as their basis, but they've kind of evolved
Mhm.
into a new way of thinking in terms of coaching. And those guys have kind of stayed in the same area and really haven't evolved.
Mhm.
And then they're also, when you look at them, they're also, both of them are very brash in terms of the way they approach their players. It's not the first time we've heard players complain about how they were treated by Mourinho. Classic case is Kevin De Bruyne, right? The way he was treated by Mourinho. Um, Mo Salah, same thing, right?
Yeah.
When he at Chelsea. So there's these things about those two guys, and man, I hope that Rui Costa doesn't get any ideas.
So yeah, they're not people. They're not a people person.
No,
You know,
definitely not
they're
a
not one
man
of those people
manager.
who are like they're not soft. Like they don't know how to take on. So like Bruno Lage knew how to incorporate youth because he knew how to work with the youth. Where JJ has no patience, or no desire to do so. I think I think that is the key with those two guys. I think you're absolutely right. They're two guys who are just old, stubborn, and just
Yeah. Who's
not willing to deal with it.
if you have a short list of 3 or 4 guys, who are your 4 guys?
Me, Sir
Top
Alex
3.
Ferguson, Pep Guardiola. Can we bring Bella
That's a
Gutman
short
back?
list, dude?
Can we bring Bella Gutman back? Those are my 3 guys right there. I honestly don't really have anyone that I think I really would want. I mean, I'll probably get crucified, but I would love Lodge back. I think Lodge deserves. I think he deserves more. I know we'll never get him now with the work he's doing at Wolves, but
Yeah.
you know, Leo Jardine would be okay. Mark Silva, somebody just said, I think would be okay. Um, I just don't. I mean, Ruben Amorim would obviously, be the guy that I think most of us would want. Dave Keith is just somebody who loves the club, somebody who clearly is showing that he knows what he's doing. I get it, but I don't know. I mean, I really don't have any.
Yeah.
Pirlo,
My
people keep saying. I don't want Pirlo here. I don't. I don't
Yeah,
think I just can't.
my four guys: Jardim,
Fuck
Fonseca,
Pizzi now.
Jardim, Fonseca,
Ooh, I like
Gallardo,
Fonseca.
and
Gallardo.
what's his the
Yeah, I think
Gallardo
Gallardo.
from River,
Yeah,
and
that would
no Paiva, who is in Ecuador.
not Paiva. Clearly,
Not Paiva.
yes. Yep.
Those would be the four guys on my short list. I think
Great shout out.
I saw Mark Silva being. I don't know, man. I think that Mark Silva went down a couple holes, man. He just hasn't had the success that everybody expected him to have in England. Obviously, he's having success in the championship, but that's the championship, man. That's the championship.
Maybe that'll be his,
Carvalhal had success in the championship.
but maybe that'll be his forte. You know, maybe that's what he's destined for, being
Yeah.
the Vitor Oliveira of the championship. It's quite possible, and if that's the case, you know
Promote
what?
teams every time.
Find your niche and run with it. You know, maybe that's what he's made for. Some of
Yeah.
those teams are very hungry. They want to get to the Prem. Maybe he's got a plan that is easy to buy into.
Yeah, Nelson.
Never
Yeah,
know.
he does have a contract that he's gonna stay with. I'm talking about not Paiva, but
He's
he
where
was at.
Ecuador.
He was asked if Benfica or any big club in Portugal would come knocking, if he would answer, and his answer was yes, because every coach ambitions to coach a big team. So whether it was Benfica or Porto or Sporting,
Hey.
certainly that would have been in the cards for him. Anyway, let's turn our attention here to Benfica's next home game, which is Moreirense, which is the first game of the second round. Happens on Saturday, 6 p.m. local. Moreirense is currently 15th away from Moreira de Cónegos. They're 1 win, 3 ties, and 5 losses. I believe they have the third worst attack when playing away from their field. In the first round, the Primeira Volta, Benfica won 2-1. And Timo, do you remember who scored the goals?
I don't.
No longer at the club. Waldschmidt.
Oh,
2 goals
goodness.
from Waldschmidt in the first game of the season. In the Moreirense roster, Rodrigo Conceição and our favorite Steven Vitória.
Well, everybody
And,
loves Steven Vittoria.
Yeah,
Come on,
Mr.
Can't-
Colgate.
can't say a bad thing about him.
That's right. I won't allow anybody to say anything bad about him. We also have a new coach that's just taken over. Sapinto is the new coach taking over for Moreirense, who I don't remember who the coach was now. But yeah, Sapinto has just taken over, and we all know what Sapinto's history is of with Benfica.
Yep.
So yeah. So Timo, what do you, Vlaco Dimos, Pizzi, Maite, and Yaremchuk would all be back and be available. At least they were back in training today. What do you expect? Another 3-1 victory?
You said it.
Yeah, I'm with you in there, but I think that we're gonna start shoring up the defense a little better under Verissimo.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I might go 3-0.
you might go 3-0.
You might make me change my bet.
3-0.
I'll put it in right now.
I'm going to write here 3-0 for Timo, and I'm gonna say 3-0 also.
If it's 3-1, I'm gonna be really pissed off because those are pretty good odds.
Yeah, and Moreirense is in 15th place, so I mean,
Yeah.
but again, with a new coach stepping in, you never know
Nope.
how that affects the players, and it could be a little bit of a dangerous bet, Timo. But I don't think they have the ability to win, but I think they'll have the ability to play, to compete with Benfica. But because of Benfica's fault, I gotta say.
Okay.
Because a team like this has no reason to even be on the same level and compete in the same manner as us. But because of how Benfica has been this season, you look at every game as a challenge. No walks in the park.
You said it. I mean, over the last 18 games, we're 16-2-2 against them.
Yeah.
So I mean, this should be easy. But you know, over our last, geez, over the last 5 games against them, both teams have scored. So I might want to change to 3-1. No, I'll leave it at 3-0. I think this is going to be the game that we get the shutout.
Yeah. Carlos says 3-0.
I think it'll be
Yeah.
an easy match.
Bruno Rodriguez 2-0. Ivan Nunes 2-0. Nelson Carvalho 5-0. O Nelson é mãos largas. Pedro Aresta be ready to sweat it again on Saturday. Hey, isn't that what we've become accustomed to in these past few years? Sweating it out.
Sweating out the CRF or the Macieda.
God damn it, man. I wish it was a lot easier than that. It's been depressing. It's been torture. This Benfica that we're forced to watch.
That was so desperately. I mean, so we desperately love. You know what I mean? I mean, I wouldn't have them tattooed on my body if I didn't love them.
Fucking shit, man. God damn it. So now turning our attention to the big event tomorrow. Rui Costa or Benfica has announced that Rui Costa will publicly speak tomorrow. I think 5. I want to say 5 p.m. or is it 10 o'clock their time? I think it might be 5 our time here in the East Coast of the U.S. I'm not really sure, but I think that it's going to be 10 p.m. or maybe 8 p.m. is going to be prime time TV. What we don't know is whether if it's something that's going to be live or is something that's going to have been recorded.
I would hope it's live.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I'm trying to see that.
I think it might be. I want to say 10 o'clock, man.
So 22 there.
22 is 10.
Yeah.
So 5 here.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So
easiest place to find any news on Benfica. Maz's page, Maz's Twitter.
Yeah. There you go. What can we expect, Timo? What do we expect from this? I know that I haven't seen a bingo sheet yet. You know the bingo sheet that they do for these things?
Yep.
I always find those super entertaining.
We should come up with our own right now and make it a drinking game and see how long we last. But you know, I've never doubted Rui Costa's love for Benfica.
No.
I know he's a Benfica. You know, the man came back at the end of his career because he wanted to finish here. Maybe he had nowhere else to go either, but he wanted to be here. That's what he always said. You know, and, you know, I know the guy's put in a lot of work at Benfica since he's come back in the, you know, like an administrative role or whatever, you know, as a sporting director and now as president. My one criticism of this man is he's been here for how many years under the previous president? And to say or to act like you never saw anything either makes you a liar or an accomplice.
Or you just an incompetent.
Just exactly. So I'm hoping this guy says the right stuff. Not that the other one didn't, because sometimes he would. But I'm hoping what he says is not only the right stuff, but also what we need to hear.
Yeah.
And obviously, most of all, I hope he sticks to it. Hope he proves me wrong, because I doubt I didn't vote for him. I'll throw it out there. I didn't vote for Luis Fiat the last time either. But he's the president. You know, love him or hate him. Everybody hated Trump. Still have to support the president of the United States. Might like Biden, might hate Biden. Still got to support him. It's the same thing. You know, you need the leader. You have to respect them and hope that they do the right thing and hope that they succeed, not fail. Because if you're looking for them to fail, then ultimately you fail. So same thing's going to go for Rui Costa like it did for Luis Fiat. I want him to succeed and I need him to succeed. But I don't think we're going to hear anything that we didn't hear before. Yeah. I think he's going to blow smoke up our ass like the last guy did.
That's I just...
my personal opinion.
Yeah, I just... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could sit here and speculate on what he's going to be talking about, right?
Hmm.
I mean, after all, uh, every single day there seems to be an article on the paper about these wiretaps and these media outlets having access to these wiretaps, and every day something new comes out. This guy was involved. They said this. This guy said that. They were caught on wiretaps doing that. So Vieira is actually being accused. And look, you can't separate Vieira from Benfica because everything he did was while he was a president of the club. And when you make decisions on 55 transfers that he's being investigated for, somebody has to sign paperwork. Somebody has to. Vieira just doesn't act on his own, regardless of whether being the president or not.
And a lot of times he doesn't act anyway. How
Right,
often is it the president of the company that signs, any checks at all?
right.
Not
But you,
always.
but you,
There's
yeah,
levels.
but you would think that Domingos Suarez Oliveira is the guy that controls our finances, right?
Exactly.
He might not know the real value of a player,
Hmm.
right? Because otherwise, you would question, well, why are we paying this much
Yeah.
for this player? He's
Yeah.
not worth that much.
Yeah.
But certainly, Rui Costa is a guy that's been inside football. He would know whether
You
we're
should know
overpaying
talent.
for a player or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
So it turns out that we were overpaying. The commissions were being pocketed, and then the commissions were being transferred into Vieira's accounts or whatever. As it turns out, is Vieira's daughter has a yearly salary of 30,000 something euros,
Off Benfica.
and no, of
Oh.
whatever she does.
Oh.
And as it turns out, millions and millions of euros have gone through her bank account. There's records of her bank account, like just money going
Wow.
through there like crazy. But anyway, I'm kind of I'm going on a tangent here, but I'm curious on whether or not he's going to address this, whether he's going to make the club um the official position of the club um on these investigations, right? And he's probably going to say, "Oh, Benfica is going to cooperate with every intent of the law, blah blah blah," which is expected, right? And
Exactly.
why wouldn't you say that? But I think that it's a moment that he has to win points with fans. I think. First of all, he announced back in when he got elected that there was an audit being done, a forensic financial audit that was being done internally, and that the results would be available at the end of October. We have yet to see that results of that audit.
Maybe we'll
So
see a PowerPoint.
yeah, maybe we see a PowerPoint with the results, right? Which would be great. I would love that.
Sure.
The other thing is, I think he's going to take a. I think he's going to take a position. He's going to make the club's position known in terms of what's going on with this whole investigation. Um, I would really like for him to come out and let the fans know what the plan is for this club in the
Hmm.
next 2 to 3 years.
Yep. Give us a
Um,
5-year plan,
yeah, because
financially, player wise,
right,
maybe even aspiration wise. Any other big projects.
yeah,
He's going to give us that. He's going to give us something to make us happy.
yeah, because everything that's been done in these past 2 3 years, everything has been without a plan, without
Mhm.
a route to go into. Everything has been reactive. Everything is going to be has been on top of the knee. The whole Vieira getting JJ because of the election, spending a hundred million on players. Nothing of this smells like that. There's a plan in place. First, you let go JJ because you want to Rui Vitória to take advantage of Seixal, include more players. Then you got rid of him. You bought a guy that would more or less fall within that line. But then, as it turns out, you kind of pushed that guy out with the help of the players, right? Because there was
Mhm.
talks about Elijah also said, "Oh, to the journalists, he said." You guys are dying to see me out of here. I would like to know who's paying you guys lunches, blah blah blah. So all of this happened. So I would really like for Rui Costa to come out and tell the fans, this is my 3-year, 5-year plan for Benfica, and this is what we're focused on doing, and have something concrete. Give the fans something, not like this. We float with the way the wind blows.
Yep.
And for a club of the stature of Benfica, this is something that can't happen. So I don't know. What do you think, Timo?
Everything you said was perfect. I mean, I would love to hear something out of him that, shows us where we're going. But again, I mean, I think we're dealing with the same shit, just a different suit.
Yeah. Do you feel that he's done enough to distance himself from Luis Vieira?
I think tomorrow will tell.
Yeah. I think
I think tomorrow is what's going. I think that'll determine whether or not I believe that he could be the right man for the job.
Yeah.
I think he has part is going to be distancing us from Vieira. And if he does come out and say, hey, look, you know what, this is what the authorities are saying, we're going to do like you said, we're going to oblige by everything they need. We're going to cooperate. We're going to give them everything they want to look at. And then, when all is said and done, we'll know what happened. He's not going to throw him under the bus. I'm not expecting him to, and I don't know that I would want him to, unless he already knows, unless the authorities have already said, hey, look, this is what's happened. Obviously, if the authorities had already told Benfica, it would already be out because of, all the journalists, all the journalists would already have it out there.
Yeah, but, I think,
he needs to win me over. He still hasn't.
Yeah, I think
tomorrow's going to be big for him.
Yeah, I think that right now, and now considering all the wiretaps that have come out, and whether Rui Costa knew or not, at some point he knew he was having conversations with certain guys in regards to certain matters. So if Rui Costa is now learning that this took place and now it's connecting the dots in his head, I may give him the benefit of the doubt for that, right? But I think that he has a really good opportunity to score points with the fans if he presents a plan, right? If the club takes a position in terms of the investigation, which the club should, because regardless of whether it's one individual, it's still the club's monies. It's the SAD's in play, all of that. And I really hope that he's a guy that I didn't vote for him like you, Timo. Or you didn't vote either for him, obviously. I didn't vote for him, or I didn't vote for Benitez either. My vote was blank this past election just because I felt there was no one that I could get behind of. But I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and I said, just like you, he's a president now. I'm not going to sit here and criticize the 83% that voted for him each freaking time that something bad happens, right? I'm going to be if I can't be supportive, then I'm just going to be quiet. Right. But certainly he has done a lot of things that kind of have confirmed the suspicion that I had in terms of supporting him as a president before the election. So I really hope that whatever he says wins points with the fans. And it's something that Benfica's not want to hear, but that need to hear. Right? Because even Vieira, as you mentioned, said things that Benfica wanted to hear, but not necessarily what Benfica needed to hear in terms of, okay, leave me at peace. Okay, this is the way we're gonna go. This is what we're gonna do in the next 3-5 years, and this is what we're gonna be focused on doing. Fine, let us believe it. Let us support it, and the plan is great. Let's do it. Let's at least have some kind of a plan, because ultimately that's how we're going to judge him also, right?
Exactly.
Because it wasn't the forensic audit that we're going to judge him, because he's been short on that.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I'm curious as to what he's going to come up with. Resta says, I think you guys hold a special podcast tomorrow night to discuss the RC10 speech with the fans. Hey, I don't know. It's possible. It is possible, but yeah, I'm gonna be watching that, and I think every Benfica should be watching this, regardless of whether you believe in him or not. So
I'll have to add it to the schedule.
5 p.m. That's a tough time, man.
Either that, I'll just ask Maz for the Cliff Notes because I know she'll be watching it.
Yeah. Well, I may end up watching it on a replay sometime. For them in Portugal, it's 10 o'clock. There's nothing going on, but 5 o'clock that's the time you get out of work. That's the time kids get home. Start preparing dinner.
I mean, how long is it really going to be anyway?
I'm gonna say 30 minutes.
Okay.
The other thing that I'm curious about is whether it's going to be live or recorded. O movimento.
Did somebody say live? I think.
I don't know
if it's live.
Yeah, I don't know if they announced it or not, but I'm curious. Yeah, somebody did say. Oh no, Carlos said do a live event. That was for us, I think.
No, I was looking on Twitter.
Oh, on Twitter, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I heard some people question whether it's going to be live or something that's going to be.
I mean, at that time, would it be?
Probably not. Probably not. But o movimento ser benfiquista, or servir o Benfica, rather, posed, I think, 10 questions that they would like for Rui Costa to answer. So if you guys want to read that, that's in Portuguese. It's all over Twitter and all over the papers. Timo, what else, man? What else you got, man? That's all I got.
That's it. There's nothing else to discuss.
Yeah, as I mentioned, the
transfer window.
Yeah, the transfer window. Nothing going on right now.
No, nothing. I think the fact that we made it out of the group stage kind of helped us. Not gonna have to sell anyone. Not gonna have to.
Yeah.
I think we should. For a bag of balls.
Yeah, I think that
I won't name names.
I think that
Carlos.
I think that Verissimo's already said that he's looking to shorten the squad. I think that Jetson will be headed to Turkey.
Galatasaray.
Yeah, I think that's where he's.
I think 18-month loan. I believe I read.
If we, Areshta's asking if Darwin's leaving. If we could get 50 million for Darwin, I would take him to the airport, dude.
So, I said it on Twitter, and I don't care. I don't dislike Darwin. I don't dislike Odysseus. But if we can get 50 and 30 for them,
oh yeah,
you take it and you run. I mean, you double up on your investment on Darwin. And I get it that he has potential. He could get better. He could improve. But I mean, he's 22 years old. If your feet and your brain don't match at 22, they're not going to match at 25. I think the guy could be lethal. Just nothing translates for the guy.
Yeah.
Odysseus, love the guy. He saved Benfica countless times. It was really cool to my son in New Jersey. We have his like $200 pair of goalie gloves that he threw at my son. Was cool with him at the hotel, so that was fun and all. And genuinely, nice guy, but he's not what we need. I mean, he doesn't give me confidence back there. And I mean, I'm old, so I don't want to say I'm a good goalie. I mean, I'm old, but I mean, I know how to play the position. And anytime you have a professional who can't catch a single cross,
yeah,
that's alarming to me.
Yeah,
he punches everything, and a lot of people, but he's getting it out of danger. I'm like, when you punch the ball,
you're giving
I would say with him, usually you're giving it right back to the opponent because you're just punching it out of your box, which is usually where you have most of your guys. So I'm like, you're not helping your team's cause there. Not to hop on a different player, but the kid who played against Porto, Thiago da Silva, I think for Estoril. Holy crap, the kid was phenomenal. Could catch the ball, commanded his box, came off his line. Like, that's the kind of player you need. You need somebody who's not afraid to attack the ball when you're in goal. We don't have a single goalie that does that. Svilar, yes. The two other kids, Kokubu and Samuel. Is it Samuel?
Yeah.
Samuel.
Samu.
Those guys, Samu.
Yep.
Those, they catch the ball more than the senior guys. But I don't know, man. Somebody want to give me $30 million for a guy who can't distribute the ball and can't catch a cross? Peace.
Yeah. No, you're right. There's been a lot of talk about that kid from Estoril, man. I've heard that's not the first time that
The
I've
one
heard
on
about him.
the one I just said, right? Thiago da
Yeah,
Silva.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's not the first time that I've heard about him that he showed some
young
promise.
young Brazilian, like 21, 22, I think.
Yeah. João Ricardo Reis is saying Galatasaray coach was fired. Not sure if they want Jetson
Oh, that's
anymore.
right.
That, that's true.
Yeah.
That could be a little bit of a monkey wrench. Here's the thing, man. I think that Jetson has enough credit with Galatasaray
Hmm.
that they would want them. That's what I think.
I think so.
Jetson tweeted also, or there was a post on Instagram thanking was it Fatih Terim? Was it
Yep.
the guy?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know what happens to Jetson, but certainly is I think that we need a shorter squad. And look, if we have problems, then go to the B team that Nelson knows.
Yeah, I
So
mean, who else do you get rid of at this point to lessen your squad? I mean, I know the guys that
Ferro,
most people want to get. Felho would be one, but you got to keep him right now because you don't have Verissimo.
yeah, that's true.
When does Verissimo come back? Not,
It
I don't think
might
at
be
all
done
this
for
year,
the
right?
season. Yeah, might be
That's what I
done.
thought, right? Yeah, so no Verissimo, so you have to keep Ferro because you have no one else to go there. I know
Yeah, well, you get
João Araújo.
Tomas Araújo.
You have him.
You might tap into him just to have him as
Yeah.
a last resort. I just don't think it's doing any good for Ferro. But then all the choices that he's made in terms of the teams that he's gone to on loan have not done anything for him either. He needs to go to a Moreirense, for example, or he needs to go to a
We
team
need to stop
mid
sending
to
these
low
guys.
table.
Yeah, we need to stop sending these guys that are like
Yeah.
top 5, 6, clubs in different leagues. They got to go to smaller teams and play.
Yep.
I mean, heck, I don't want to say go to the MLS, some of these guys, but some of these guys would probably find some decent success here in the MLS.
Yeah. The problem is that limitation that we have that we can't loan. I think is it 3 players that we can loan. Period.
Now.
In
To
the
the
first
league.
to the
Yep.
first league. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, there's so
There's
many
ways
come to
around
mind
that.
that we could get rid of.
No,
Yeah.
I mean we know that. PZ Almeida, most people would say Tarapt.
You could go with Maite.
Maite. I mean, there's so many. I mean, I would sell Darwin. I would sell Odysseus. I would get rid of Helton. I would have said Gilberto, but let me tell you, if there's one guy who shows more heart in 90 minutes than Gilberto on Benfica, is there?
No.
No. That guy has completely changed the way he plays for Benfica. He looks better. I mean, he looks like he's actually playing. Oh, get rid of Gil Gonçalves. I would too. I like Lázaro, and Lázaro can play both sides.
Yeah, here's another guy that the guy's been a winger all his life. Though all of a sudden JJ arrives, he's a freaking right back. Yeah. Right, here's another kid that just had success in places that he went, but now all of a sudden he's a right back.
Some of these guys, that's what they need. They need to go to smaller leagues or not hold out to go play for like Valencia. Like you said with Ferro. I mean, I don't think that's why he went there. I think that was kind of a Benfica Valencia
that's
type
what they
of
had.
agreement. But like look at Jota over at Celtic. That's one player I would love to have back right now. We're not going to get him back.
Yeah, forget it.
He's gone.
I think
somebody already said they're locking him up, and he's going to accept it.
Yeah, they're locking him up.
I mean, hey,
and good for him, man.
Totally. If you're not going to get a chance at Benfica or you don't capitalize here, if you go somewhere else and you finally make everything work for yourself, maybe that's the right fit. Just stay there. But I think he'll be at a bigger club than Celtic soon. Not a small club, but you know
Celtic,
what I mean, a bigger league.
Yeah, but Celtic has to understand that he just returned to training because he had a hamstring injury. He just returned to training. If he has a very good second half, there's no reason why he's not picked up by a club in the Prem.
Yeah.
Easily. And Celtic will more than double their 7.5 million investment.
Yep.
Easily.
Yep.
Easily.
I could see him.
It's one of those things, man. Yeah, you're right. It's one of those things, especially with Barcelona wanting Tricão back.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really? I didn't see that. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, because they can't buy anybody.
And they have no one else.
Yeah.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah. So that's it, man. Next week we'll be back. We'll recap this Moreirense game, and we'll look ahead to, I forget who Benfica is playing. I don't
Aroca.
know if it's Aroca.
Aroca.
There you go.
Yep.
We'll look at. And so we got. Thank you to all the Freddies who were hanging out, man, and keeping us company and active in the chat. Always love you guys. Stay safe. Thank you, team, for coming in.
Thanks for the invite, like
and,
always.
And again, the Dave the Oliveira was in the comments, but the other Oliveira wasn't here. But hey, a Carvalho is always stronger than an Oliveira, so I'll take that every day. Take care, everyone. See ya.